On July 31st, 1981, a small twin-engine plane vanished into the cloud-covered mountains of western Panama. On board was the most powerful man in the country, a cigar-smoking general who had stared down the United States, rewritten his nation's destiny, and made enemies in every corner of the world. His name was Omar Torrijos Herrera. To his people, he was a hero of the poor. To Washington, a thorn in the side. To history, an unsolved mystery. This is the story of how a farmer's son became Panama's uncrowned king, and why so many believe his death was no accident. Omar Torrijos was born on February 13, 1929, in the small town of Santiago de Veraguas, deep in Panama's countryside. His parents were both school teachers, modest, disciplined, and deeply patriotic. From them, young Omar inherited two things that would shape his life: a love for the working class and a fierce sense of national pride. At 17, he won a military scholarship to El Salvador. By his 20s, he was a rising officer in Panama's National Guard, the country's combined police and military force. He was charismatic, loud, and unapologetically populist, qualities that would soon catapult him from soldier to statesman. In October 1968, just 11 days after President Arnulfo Arias took office, Panama's National Guard struck. A bloodless military coup overthrew the government, and within months, one man emerged from the chaos at the top. That man was Colonel Omar Torrijos. He never officially called himself president. Instead, he took the title Maximum Leader of the Panamanian Revolution. He suspended the Constitution, dissolved Congress, and ruled by decree. But unlike many Latin American dictators of his era, Torrijos didn't enrich himself. He turned his attention to the poor. Torrijos governed with a swagger. He'd fly his helicopter into remote villages, drink rum with farmers, and listen to their problems for hours. He launched massive land reforms, redistributing thousands of acres to peasants. He built schools, hospitals, and highways in regions Panama City had ignored for centuries. He legalized labor unions. He expanded education. He gave indigenous communities new rights. To millions of Panamanians, he was simply El General del Pueblo, the general of the people. But Torrijos wasn't a saint. He jailed opponents, censored the press, and exiled critics. His Panama was freer than many neighbors, but it was still a one-man show. Torrijos' greatest battle wasn't fought with bullets. It was fought with diplomacy. Since 1903, the United States had controlled the Panama Canal and a 10-mile strip of Panamanian land surrounding it. To Torrijos, this was a national humiliation. He took the fight global. He courted Fidel Castro, befriended Tito of Yugoslavia, and rallied the developing world behind Panama's cause. He brought the issue to the United Nations Security Council and won international sympathy. In 1977, he sat down with U.S. President Jimmy Carter and signed the historic Torrijos-Carter Treaties, guaranteeing that the canal would return to Panamanian hands by December 31, 1999. It was the crowning achievement of his life. But Torrijos' victories came with a heavy cost. He had made powerful enemies inside Panama and far beyond its borders. He gave refuge to the Shah of Iran in 1979, infuriating the new Iranian regime. He supported the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, alarming Washington's right wing. He sheltered exiles, brokered peace deals, and openly criticized U.S. foreign policy in Latin America. By 1981, Ronald Reagan had taken office, and the political winds had shifted. Hardliners in Washington saw Torrijos as a leftist sympathizer, a destabilizing force. Meanwhile, within his own military, ambitious officers were watching closely. One in particular, a sharp, scarred intelligence chief named Manuel Noriega. On the morning of July 31, 1981, Torrijos boarded a de Havilland Twin Otter for a routine flight to Coclacito, a rural village he'd helped build. The weather was poor. The mountains were shrouded in fog. The plane never arrived. Search teams found the wreckage the next day on the slopes of Cerro Marta. There were no survivors. Torrijos was 52 years old. The official cause? Pilot error in bad weather. But almost immediately, whispers began. Witnesses reported a strange explosion before the crash. Investigators noted unusual damage patterns. And for years afterward, even Panama's own leaders, including Noriega himself, hinted that the plane had been sabotaged. Theories about Torrijos' death have never fully gone away. Some blame the CIA, citing tensions with Reagan's administration. Others point to Noriega, who seized power soon after and ruled Panama with brutal efficiency until the U.S. invasion of 1989. A few suspect agents tied to the Shah's enemies, or even rogue elements within Panama's own military. No investigation has ever delivered a definitive answer. The files remain sealed. The witnesses, mostly gone. What's certain is this: Omar Torrijos shaped modern Panama. He gave his country the canal, dignity on the world stage, and a generation of social progress. His son, Martin Torrijos, would later become president himself. In 2004, hero, dictator, dreamer, threat, Torrijos was all of these. And whether his death was an accident or an assassination, his shadow still falls across Panama today. Some men die in plane crashes. Others disappear into history's unanswered questions.